You're riding along with someone, and suddenly they turn down the music. Their head cocks to one side. Something's not right. You listen, hear nothing unusual, just the normal hum of the road. But they've already heard it, a whisper in the machinery that your ears can't even detect. This is what separates them from the rest of us. Not tools, not manuals, not even experience alone. It's the way they've learned to read a language most people don't even know exists. The language machines speak when they're trying to tell you something's wrong. But what we're really talking about here goes far beyond engines and oil changes. What we're really examining is a completely different operating system for life itself. When a problem appears, any problem, most people freeze. They reach for their phone, they call an expert, they assume someone else knows better. Not these individuals. Their instinct is the opposite. They move closer to the problem, not away from it. They crack open the hood and start testing possibilities one by one, methodically, patiently, believing that understanding is always within reach if you're willing to look hard enough. Psychology has a term for this mindset: internal locus of control. It means you believe you control outcomes, not luck, not fate, not other people. Your actions determine results. And those who work on cars have absorbed this belief so deeply it becomes automatic. They don't even realize they're doing it anymore. When their washing machine breaks, they don't call a repair service. They pull it apart. When a pipe starts dripping, they've already ordered the washers and watched the tutorial. Even workplace problems get disassembled like carburetors, broken into components, analyzed, reassembled with the faulty piece replaced. This is how their minds work now. Everything is solvable. And here's something most people don't realize. These individuals have failed more times than you can imagine. Stripped bolts, snapped fittings, forgotten steps that turned a 2-hour job into a 2-day nightmare. They've reassembled entire systems only to hear a horrible noise the moment they turn the key. That sinking feeling when you know you've done something terribly wrong. But instead of destroying them, those moments built them. Because when you're alone in your driveway at midnight, covered in grease, staring at the mess you've created, there's no customer service department to yell at, no one to refund your time, just you and the consequences of your choices. So you learn something most people never do. Failure is just data. It tells you what doesn't work so you can find what does. Over time, this reshapes how you see the entire world. Complexity stops being threatening. A tangled mess of wires that would make most people walk away becomes a puzzle. Interesting, solvable. Give them 12 possible causes for a single symptom, and they'll test every one, eliminating variables, following logic, until only the truth remains. This is pattern recognition on a level most people never develop. The ability to see order hiding inside chaos. To know that everything connects even when it doesn't look like it. And maybe this is why they seem so out of place in modern society. We live in a world designed to make us consumers, not creators, passengers, not drivers. We're encouraged to replace, not repair, to upgrade, not understand. But these people refuse. They insist on knowing how their own machines work. They resist the idea that knowledge should be outsourced to professionals. They keep skills alive that the world has labeled obsolete, not because they're stubborn, because they understand something fundamental: autonomy. Many of them can trace it back to a single memory: standing in a garage as a child, holding a flashlight while someone worked, a father, an uncle, a neighbor who didn't mind the questions, someone who explained what they were doing, and more importantly, why. In those moments, something transferred that had nothing to do with mechanics. It was permission. Permission to try things, permission to fail, permission to believe that the world's machinery wasn't beyond comprehension. And for some, especially those who struggled with the confusing social rules of childhood, the garage became a sanctuary. Because engines follow logic.
Either the bolt is tight enough or it isn't. Either the circuit is complete or it's broken. No hidden meanings, no guessing what someone really meant, no politics, just cause and effect. For minds that found human interaction exhausting and unpredictable, this clarity was everything. This is why so many describe working on cars as meditation. There's a state you enter when you're fully absorbed in solving a mechanical puzzle. Your hands move through familiar motions. The world outside disappears. Time loses meaning. No emails, no notifications, no performance anxiety. Just pure presence, complete focus on the task in front of you. And perhaps that's the deepest truth here. In an age that demands we stay constantly connected, constantly productive, constantly available, working on cars is one of the last activities that requires your complete attention. You cannot multitask a timing belt replacement. You cannot check your phone while setting engine timing. The work demands everything you have, and in exchange, it gives you something increasingly rare. Proof that you are capable. Real, undeniable, tangible proof. Because when you're done, when you turn that key and the engine roars to life, when you've diagnosed what everyone said would need a professional, when you've resurrected something dead with nothing but your hands and your mind, you've accomplished something that cannot be faked, cannot be bought, cannot be delegated to someone else. You've proven to yourself that you are not helpless in this world, not dependent, not powerless. The people who work on cars have made a choice, often without realizing it. They've chosen to author their own experience rather than consume someone else's. They've refused to accept ignorance as inevitable. They've decided that understanding is worth the skinned knuckles, the frustration, the hours spent on something that should have been simple. Because they believe something most people have forgotten. The world is knowable. Systems can be understood. Problems are just puzzles waiting for patience. And once you see life through that lens, you can never go back. So the real question isn't about cars at all. The question is, what have you convinced yourself you can't do? What have you outsourced that you could reclaim? What would shift in your life if you approached your problems like a mechanic approaches a broken engine, with curiosity instead of fear, with persistence instead of panic, with the belief that you are more capable than you've been taught to believe? Maybe it's time to find out.